So today I'm off to a Binance event. It's a Binance meetup in Johannesburg. It's in 4 ways. Really excited to see what's going to be happening, who's going to be there. And the event was really special because it was one of those events where it was very intimate, very private, but also very party-like because they had it was like at a rooftop. People were having drinks and eating while listening to talks. We played a very cool game in the beginning. And lots of interactions when we were there, and the event was really cool. I enjoyed it. So there I am, minding my own business, attending the event, just like everybody else. I was just invited, and obviously I honored the invite, and I didn't, notify anybody that I'm coming. I just went through to the event, and when I'm there was a lady who's doing amazing work in terms of Bitcoin in the Kasi in Soweto. And as she started to speak, her name is Mpho, and she started to speak, she sort of brought me into the conversation because one of the guys asked a question to say, what's the government doing, And as my role as the 4th Industrial Revolution Commissioner in the South African government, I had to then give feedback on the spot. And for me, it's about the passion, it's about loving what you do. No matter when or how somebody asks you a question about what's actually going on, you're able to actually answer and you're able to actually give insight. So she called me out. It was a surprise. I wasn't even aware that I was going to speak at the event, and she called me out and I came through and I spoke, and it was very interesting to see how everybody was so engaged and everybody's passion and interest in wanting to see blockchain adoption move forward in the world.
Mpho Dagada here, welcome sir. Because I know that Mpho actually worked hard to bring crypto into the government space. He did a lot of work around with the president, and he was actually, I don't know if he's still an advisor to the president. So I don't know where the ball was dropped, because by now, Mpho, we're supposed to be regulated. So I don't know what happened. I need you to put you on the spot and just brief us, where are we with crypto in South Africa now? Please come through.
Good evening, everybody in the room. I think, when it comes to crypto regulation, when I started with the government, we sort of started at the ground explaining what blockchain is, how it works, how to get about it. But what we've really seen, especially in South Africa, is that most of the resistance comes from the banks and not the government. Most of the banks seem to be very resistant to change and implementing these changes within their system. And they seem to be the ones that report a lot, especially to the Reserve Bank, about people moving their funds to Australia, packing up and immigrating without paying taxes, people buying certain assets offshore, overseas. So a lot of the flatback has come from banks saying, well, these things are happening with crypto, how do we regulate them? And I think what we're now seeing is where the Reserve Bank is coming to party and the banks are also coming to party. And they're now all sitting together and saying, yes, we can do this. In terms of the government itself, the government is not against blockchain technology. In fact, the government has got quite a few blockchain technology projects that are being tried and tested within the government systems. So most of the regulation when it comes to crypto sits with the Reserve Bank, because the Reserve Bank's mandate, after all, is to make sure that you do pay tax on all your profits. And the Reserve Bank's mandate is also to make sure that you don't move your money to another country without actually declaring it, and that you keep within your minimums and your maximums that you're supposed to do. So I think that's where a lot of the regulation is currently happening. We're seeing progress, although progress is slow. I think banks are quite intimidated with the amount of inflows that crypto does in South Africa, but we are seeing progress. Thank you.
Heard from him. He's Mr. Bitcoin. He's got a book that he wrote. It's called Mr. Bitcoin. If you really want to know how a person can start from zero to hero. And by the way, he is actually one of the P2Ps. Future Wealth, isn't it? Future Wealth. I buy from him, so I know. And then so when I trade, because I use a lot of P2P, I always look for him. Sometimes, his fees are quite high, but then it's okay because I want to support my own, so it's always good. And I do want to say, what we're teaching people, I know people are using a lot of your Luno, your Alcon Trader and Vala, but with Binance, you can actually buy your own USDT through P2P. And it is a safe space. The response as well is very quick. There's nobody who's going to scam you there. It's a deal between me and somebody else, and it must happen. We move. It's really a lovely space to be in. And I think as South Africans, slowly we're going to get so much into dollars. The language is going to be dollars. You know, you look at your money, just want
So I had a conversation with JP and Mamtuli, who are on the ground when it actually comes to cryptocurrencies. And, we were just discussing, how the youth can get more involved, why it's important, and how to tackle unemployment, and some of the benefits, but also some areas that we need to improve on and do better, and also some questions that need to be answered in the crypto field. So it was such an insightful conversation where one was able to take some takeaways as to what to do better, what to implement better, what works, what's not working, and how to better move crypto adoption in the country. So I want to know from you guys, what are some of your thoughts about some of the stuff we discussed in this segment? What do you guys think? What should be done to move adoption more, faster, better, and more effective within the country?
I don't want, everybody thinks that crypto is this, like I said to you, is for the elite and it's expensive. Crypto is not expensive. Once you know, and we say to our people, you have 10 rand. Okay, log in, this is how you buy, wait for it, it goes up, we made a rand, sell. You're trading already.
And you're learning.
And you're learning. There's no complication in it.
We had the discussion where you say to the guys, just get in the game, get some meat in the game, put that 10 rand in, so you start to understand the technology. If you understand the technology and you grasp it, then you can go forward. So then you can start working with it. You can start leveraging it. You can start looking at the graphs. Then you know your money is in there, so you can see it grows. It's amazing. It's a great investment. It's the future of finance.
It is.
And I believe it. Because why? You don't have an intermediate.
Yes.
I'm sending it straight to you.
Yeah.
Yes. So you don't need to trust the guy in the middle.
Yes.
And that's the thing. The banks don't want that.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
It's very important.
Definitely not.
It's especially very important. As long as our people can understand, and everybody a day can actually make $1, which is what, 17 rand, 15 rand a day. You just play a game the whole day, scalping.
I use the example of Axie Infinity.
Yes.
You know Axie Infinity?
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So in the Philippines, the guys are playing that. And they're making $30, $50 a day.
Absolutely.
Maybe not now, but I mean, that's keeping families alive.
Yes.
Definitely,
And
yeah.
if we can invent, and I mean, I'm putting it there, if we can invent a game that is adopted in Africa, in Southern Africa, you must know the numbers of people, so we can uplift. Because we're sitting with big problems if we don't have employment.
Definitely, yeah.
Young people don't have a future.
Yeah.
If you don't have a future and you don't have hope, then what do? Where are we going?
I think where we're going is where everybody's going to be involved in crypto, and it's going to be a very well-regulated market.
Yeah.
But I think you guys are very right, and the work you guys are doing is so important in educating people, making sure that they're involved and engaging them. And I think your gaming idea is brilliant. The fact that if we create games where, a day they're making $1, they're seeing it. Once they just see it, it's them just seeing it, withdrawing it, it's real, yeah. Then you've won them over, yeah, definitely. So I definitely agree. I think we need to sponsor more programs, back more programs, and do more of these sort of meetups as well. Take them into the townships, different areas, Pretoria, everywhere, and let everybody come through.
Play to earn and play to learn.
Yes,
Definitely.
which they do have with Binance, but again, the English is too deep for our people. So you need to listen it up a bit, so that I understand when you say play to earn. What are the steps that they're gonna take me to there? And once I'm there, what is next? Because again, what finance with the play to earn is money that you can't really withdraw. It's money that's available for you to start learn to trade within the system.
Yes.
You see,
And you need to do it on a chain where it's affordable. You can't go, I
Yes,
don't want to say Ethereum, but I'm saying it. You can't go do that on Ethereum because you're going to put 10 rand in and your fees are going to be 10 rand.
10 rand, yeah.
So you need to look at another blockchain where it is affordable. But you've got so much knowledge. I mean, And I think, opens so many doors.
You
And
can't give back to something. You can't definitely. You can't give something back. In fact, now with your NFTs and everything, what can we do in South Africa that actually can drive us? And we play within our own space that actually can exchange money within ourselves. We don't have to look at the other currencies. What we have now, what can we give back of something? And when it's used, because the power of crypto is the usage. It must be used. It must be traded. It must
Utility,
move.
yes, yeah.
It must move.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
everybody is giving back to coins. I call them stillborn coins. Because everybody will go and buy these coins and you stuck with them. Yeah, I got 5 million. Hello, they're going nowhere. You can't do anything about it. They're just sitting on your phone. So a coin that I know there was a ZAR. What was it?
XZAR, yeah, a stable coin of the ZAR.
Yes.
Yeah.
Where is that? What does it mean to us? They're entering a crypto space, but they're not again educating to us to say, what does this mean to us? How do we exchange with it? Can I actually go to a spaza shop now and say, listen, here's my card. I'm buying with the XZAR. Because it needs to trade, it needs to move.
You see the thing is, and now it sits on the Ethereum blockchain. So your fees transferring, it's so expensive. It doesn't make sense. We need to find something for Africa, a solution for Africa by Africans.
Yes.
And that's how I see it. And we have to be part of the solution. We can't complain the whole time.
Yeah.
There's so much negativity in this country. If it's not electricity, it's fuel. We need to find hope. And we need to, and I don't know, I'm just looking at you. They say, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong room. And I feel happy to be here, because I know there's someone smarter than me. And we have to change this country.
Overall, the event was such a successful event, and I want to send a shout out to the Binance team that organized it and arranged it. Binance is really proving itself to be the most responsible and forward-thinking cryptocurrency company within the world. Not only do they obviously have the numbers in terms of liquidity, in terms of being ranked number one, but they're also literally going on the ground and making sure that more conversations are happening, people are insightful, people are actually knowledgeable, and educating everybody and making sure that they get involved in each and every country. So Binance recently launched a South African office. They've had an office obviously in Africa, Nigeria, but now they're moving more into South Africa, and it was very good meeting the team and hearing some of the amazing stuff. And look out for the future. We're going to be working with the team and making sure that more and more people learn and know about cryptocurrency, because the more people know, the more people learn, the more people earn, that's the more we're going to see adoption and more adoption happening in Africa. So overall, the event was amazing, great event. I learned a lot, very insightful event. I got to interact with a lot of people, hear a lot of concerns out there in the crypto community and what we can do to make it better. But overall, it was such a successful and amazing event. Thank you to Binance, and shout out to everybody who came to the event.